pre-production, it's when the sculptor is thinking and planning and preparing for the sculpture that he's going to make. The next part is him actually choosing the stone that he wants. He says, I need to start with this much stone so that when I'm chiseling, I'll end up with this. So that's shooting, production. And then now what happens in post-production is the actual chiseling. Now, just to recap what happened in the other two episodes, the imagery is of a sculptor, okay? So that's how you ought to think of production, because when he's dreaming of the sculpture, he doesn't have any stone in hand. He's just thinking. So there's all the possibilities. That's pre-production. The story could go this way, it could go that way, it could go this way. In production, he's seeing the stone and he's saying, instead of this stone, we will go with this stone. Okay. So he's also being, yes, an artist, but is different on that day. He's there to
find the right material.
The right material, yes. That's actually the right word. And then in the last part is like, okay, you remember we talked about constraints from the previous video. An editor is constrained to largely work with the material that he has. So that's the constraint of editing, is that you work with the footage that you have. So that's where he's chiseling, and it is accepted that when editing, whatever will be the final product will be a fraction of the footage that you shot. And sometimes this is why you hear people saying, if you've been a part of a production, I didn't see the footage that we shot. I was looking for a particular shot, and then in editing, even if the shot was there in the script and we said follow the script, the editor can decide we don't need this shot, and he can do away with it, even if you had 100 takes for that shot. So that's what we were doing in post-production. It's actually the chiseling away. And Charles, what's the first rule of editing?
Don't fall in love with the footage.
You do not fall in love with the footage.
Do not fall in love.
So what does that mean?
Usually in a bigger production, certain things, the editor, who at times isn't involved in most of the parts of the production, usually doesn't have, let me say, he's not beholden to the footage. Yes. So they'll just look at what they need and chop off. But at times,
so just be like, nope.
This, that, this is what I've been told, this is the end goal, so I'll chop off whatever footage doesn't fit the narrative. But what happens is, if someone has been involved, especially from the creation part, to going to choose the block.
The block, yeah.
And now they're bringing the block themselves to chisel. They might have fallen so much in the block here that you can find that you're not moving again.
Because you don't want to remove this part.
It looks like it's nice, yet a proper editor should be like, this block needs to look like a puzzle.
Yes.
So I'll have to chop off this. Yes, it can't look like a stone. It needs to go. So that's what it means. Don't fall in love with the footage.
So we first edit was like 45 seconds. We had already chopped off a lot, and then we made it 45 seconds. So I did the first edit, which was about 45 seconds, to just have things flowing. This happens, and then this, and then this, and then this. And then I sent it to the team, and the team was like, okay, it's a good foundation, but now we need to
chop it
even further. And I was like, oh no. So I began to fall in love with the footage.
With the footage.
Yeah. So how we work is that we usually edit together. So he edits and I also edit on top. There are people who just have one editor, and that works fine. But the same way in pre-production, we usually go back and forth. And also in production, we go back and forth. There are some shots in the production where, even though I was directing, he told me, this one, you do it yourself. So even in editing,
that's the same. And the reason we cut it from 45 seconds to 30 is because we needed, we knew that we could still tell the same story within a shorter time. And yet for an ad, people do not have all that attention span just to watch
the whole story unfold.
So wherever it was slow and all that, we just needed to cut it. So you might have noticed in some of the shots skipping from here to there. But you know what? The important thing is at the end of the day, the
It's
story
about
is
the
told.
continuity of the story
Yeah.
rather than continuity of the shots.
Of the shots.
Yeah.
I think where our illustration might fail a little bit when it comes to editing is that a sculptor will sculpt and remove.
Yeah.
But an editor has the option, after
To
you've
also-
removed all the footage that you feel is unnecessary, you still need to add other things. And so in the editing process is where we add the sound and the color.
Although you can still say it still works with the sculpture, because there's sculptors who will sculpt and then they will paint, or they will sculpt in stone and then they'll add metal or wood.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Good. So you see how this is how at times we think.
Technologia.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the thing that also happens in the editing room is where now you're adding things. And a good editor will think of what is the feeling. One of the best editors out there.
You said it's like being a psychologist.
Also. You're thinking of how people think.
You still have to do that when you're shooting.
Yes.
But now in editing is now when you actually...
It's coming together. So everyone, of course, from the beginning to the end, but now an editor has to, he's the end. He's the one who will either destroy the project or make it happen. He can save a project. You know, Jaws is one of the movies that is well known. We also know the soundtrack and all. These were things that were added that made Jaws what it is. The editor, who was a lady, cut out a lot of the footage that the director had worked on. And that helped the movie become what it is.
Actually, on Jaws, they used mechanical sharks. They were not using actual sharks. The problem was they looked fake.
And it failed a lot on the shoot.
Yes. So when they were editing, they edited, it just wasn't working. So the editor realized, if I only show it for, let's say, 3 frames, it feels like a shark, it registers, and then you cut to something else.
Actually, they just showed the tip of the shark.
Yeah.
They left all the other part that's been shot.
So what you're saying about feeling is that in editing, something, even taking 5 frames instead of 3, gives a different feeling. In 5 frames, you're able to see, that's not a shark. But if you only show 3, your mind registers that there's something.
Yeah.
And, when you cut it to the next thing, even though if you lengthened it, they tell, that's a toy.
That's a toy, yeah.
But keeping it short enough, you think...
A glimpse it.
So
And that's just looking at the water itself just gives you fright. It gives you fear. So an editor, proper editor, will work on how the person feels.
Yeah. So we use that a lot in shortening it so for it to have a feel, it should start with, our character being, resting, and then this tension, and then we needed to faster, make the footage go faster, speed up the footage at some places, slow it down, so that we have the general feel of the flow of time.
Things,
And that was, of course, now works with the other things, like the very important sound.
Sound, yeah.
We added in sound effects
design
and music. And, when we added music, it was now like, oh, wonderful. And we'll come back to sound, because the other thing that we added was visual effects. Now, initially when we started out, if you watch the first video,
the director didn't want
I didn't want it to have many effects or whatever. I wanted it to just be simple shooting and editing. But then Charles was like, you know what, you do something. And I remember when I did it, I was like, okay, here's. And he said, good stuff. So I was like, oh, okay.
I think maybe that might be something that we might do really focus on that one. If you guys would like to see exactly what happened on that, and maybe a more detailed view of exactly, the visual effects and maybe choosing of the sound, how we did it, maybe you can comment down there and we can...
we can do that in another video. And one last thing that, this wonderful, amazing artist did is he used AI to add some characters.
Don't stone me, please.
Yeah, and it was amazing. And the first time I saw it, I laughed and I thought it was the stupidest thing for him to do. I told him, it was nice to try.
Yeah.
And then he told me, look, if you don't want it there, you do it yourself.
Yeah.
He said, okay, which is the other thing. Being able to say, instead of critiquing, to say, how can we make it work?
Better. Yeah.
And we found a way to make it work. And when we added in the sound effects,
and then your animation skills and all that,
Yeah.
it gave life. You know, those three characters dancing
with the sound,
and also you can see what we call it, the reflections
yeah.
on the table.
Yeah.
That wasn't AI that did that. That was still a human being. So AI has a place, even in
It's just
editing.
a tool.
It's just a tool that we ought to
I mean, even the
embrace and
voiceover
not
we used,
fear. I don't think we should fear AI. We should just embrace it and work around it and work with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will still need human beings. We'll still need to shoot. Actually, we'll still need a human being to do the edit.
Yeah.
AI can do the edit in a few years, but it won't tell you. You see, when AI renders out an image, it doesn't tell you why it chose red instead of yellow or etc. So there's still that human element, and editing was a joy because it's that phase of being the sculptor, of now fine-tuning and making those small adjustments and, the color grading so that the color looks good, and, just the little refinements is what, post-production basically was.